Right folks, so I am really excited to share this today. This is the DJI Air 3S and this is the Fly More combo pack, which comes with a couple of additional batteries along with some other bits as well. One thing I want to stress straight from the get-go here is that I paid for this with my own money. DJI did not send it to me for free, and so this is not in any way a sponsored video. I also have the Mini 4 Pro here, just so we can compare the two drones together, as this is the other DJI drone that I do currently own. So let's go ahead, get into the box, and then we'll get things set up, take the Air 3S out for its first flight. So straight in the box here, we have everything in the storage bag. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the drone itself. So the takeoff mass for the Air 3S with the battery installed is 722 grams. And a premium drone, of course, this from DJI. Not quite up to the level of the Mavic series, but definitely a step up from the Mini series here. And we have the first battery already installed in the back. The battery, by the way, will give up to 45 minutes of maximum flight time, although real world usage does tend to be a little bit less than what DJI themselves actually advertise. So just removing the gimbal protector here, the actual camera system is fantastic with the Air series. It always has been. And the Air 3S is definitely an upgrade from the previous Air 3 model that DJI released. The main difference here being is that the primary wide-angle camera now has a sensor of 1 inch, whereas previously it was 1/1.3. The Tele Camera is still 1/1.3, but gives us that fantastic 3x optical zoom, so really excited to test that out. Never flown the original Air 3 myself. The last Air I flew was the 2S a few years ago. But one of the other big improvements here is we still have optical avoidance, but you can see we have this additional sensor now on the top. And what that is going to allow is what DJI are calling their Nightscape omnidirectional sensoring. And a lot of these other sensors are pretty much dependent on there being some ambient light. The sensor up front here is not. So even effectively in the pitch black, it will still detect obstacles at the front in order to avoid accidents. So really nice to see that DJI have included that. So of course we have the two fisheye sensors up the front here. We have the two on the rear, and we also have the sensors on the bottom as well. A little bit of charge out the box, but not much. I'll make sure to get this fully charged before we go for our first takeoff. And just to clarify, the primary wide-angle camera here is capable of recording video up to 4K 60 FPS in HDR, and DJI are stating that that allows up to 14 stops of dynamic range as well. So there's actually two full sets of props, and also an additional A and an additional B prop as well. So that should keep you going for a while. Hopefully with the omnidirectional sensing, we shouldn't need to be replacing these all that often. Now, props installed, something that's really nice to see here is that DJI have included a set of ND filters. Now, these are only included with the Fly More combo bundle. However, you can also get them separately if you wish to. And these are ND8, 32 and 128 filters. So next up we have the battery charging pack with the other two batteries in here good to go, and this will charge over USB-C. You will really want to be using at least a 65 watt adapter for charging, otherwise these are going to take an absolute age to charge. And finally, depending on which pack you actually purchase of the Air 3S, you will get either the controller I have here, which is the RC-N3 controller. This is the controller where you put your phone into the top in order to use the Fly app. And this is the latest version of the phone controller that was first bundled with the DJI Neo. Okay, this is the one that does have O4. Now, the reason I chose the bundle with this controller rather than the more preferred RC2 controller, which is the controller with the screen, is because I already have that controller since it came with my DJI Mini 4 Pro here. And this would be the exact same controller that is bundled with the Air 3S if you do go for this option. This also uses the O4 technology. Didn't need another one of these, so yeah, I got the cheaper option that includes this still very powerful controller, which I'm probably not really going to use all that much. So just to show you both drones fairly close together there, so you can see the difference in size. There is one potential advantage that the Mini 4 Pro has over the Air 3S, and that is it allows for native vertical shooting. Not really a big deal for me since I don't really capture vertical all that often, but just something I wanted to mention. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and get the DJI Air 3S batteries charged up. I'll get the drone set up off camera, and then I'll meet you outside for that first test flight. So it turned out, even with fast charging, it took the rest of the evening for me to get all 3 batteries charged up. But I've also got the drone connected to the RC2 controller, and I have all the firmware updated. So I haven't yet flown this. You are going to be seeing my very first flight today. But I think I'm all good to go now. So let's get the drone into the air. Okay, so the compass is calibrated. That should give us an accurate lock on the map for the drone in comparison to me as the pilot. So let's go ahead and gain some altitude. My very first time taking off here with the Air 3S. How exciting.
Home point updated.
Boy, this is nippy. Whoa, that's gone quickly. What, am I in normal mode? Yes, I'm in normal mode. This thing has some speed to it, man. That just whizzed away. I was not expecting that. Yeah, definitely, if you've only flown a mini drone, such as the Mini 3 or the Mini 4 or even the Mini 2, then this is definitely going to feel a lot different when you first start flying. Okay, right, let's get a little bit of distance and a little bit of height as well. And this thing straight away, I can tell, is obviously going to fly beautifully. I wasn't expecting anything less. This is a DJI drone after all. And I'm now currently at 400 meters, and I still have VLOS of the Air 3S here, as we are traveling at about 12 meters per second. It's not a windy day at all, which is really helpful here for my first flight. Not so much as even a breeze right now. So I'm just going to start capturing some 4K video now as well, so we can see the type of quality that we can expect with the wide angle camera here. And then we'll also take a look at the telephoto camera in a little bit too, because I do want to test that out. But yeah, this is just the standard camera. Right, what I'm going to do before we do anything else is test the return to home functionality. Now, right now, this is pretty much just going to be the standard return to home. But it does have an advanced return to home, this drone, where it doesn't matter so much as to what you have it set up for in terms of those return to home settings. It will actually navigate the path based on the way the drone has already flown to get to that position, and it will use the sensors as well in order to detect obstacles. And it's coming down with some speed. I best get ready to cancel that. You know what? That is virtually pinpoint accurate. So it took off from just here, and look where it is. I'll just come around the side so we can see that. Yeah, it might just have 1 foot hanging off the edge of the table if it was to land from this position, but that is really, really close. So very impressive there with the auto landing precision there, which was a feature that was introduced with the Mini 4 Pro, by the way. And I'm going to switch now over to the telephoto camera, but before I do that, I'm going to just reduce the altitude here, move the drone closer to the trees up here. Yeah, when I get into other filming locations, I'm going to be excited to test out this tele camera. Okay, so I'm going to actually switch it into cine mode. That will just give us a slightly more cinematic style. And I'm going to keep recording in 4K 4K 60 FPS, which is, yep, what it's selected down at the bottom. You can see that. And we'll switch over to that telephoto lens. There we go. Try and get this as straight as possible here. And let's begin recording. And now all I'm going to do, drop the gimbal down a touch, is just lift the drone into the air above these trees. I am using auto exposure right now, so we'll just have to bear that in mind. But yeah, you can definitely see that parallax effect with the foreground looking like it's moving much more quickly than the background there. Obviously, that's just a spur of the moment test with a few trees here in a woodland, but you do this in various environments and actually put time and effort into your shots, then you're going to have a heck of a lot of fun with this particular camera, and it's definitely something I'm really excited to putting through its paces. How quick was that very easy shot I just set up? Okay, really, really easy. Took about 10 seconds, put it into the 3x zoom mode and just lifted the drone up next to the trees. Okay, I probably could have done with some exposure adjustments because the auto exposure did change throughout the shot, which didn't look great, but you did see the parallax effect there. and you can just get a glimpse as to what this particular camera is going to be capable of. Okay, and I'm just going to see how fast we can fly. So again, a pretty much windless environment right now, which is perfect for this test. But let's go ahead and start zooming off here. And yeah, that's fast. That's a nice speed there. So over 20 meters per second. Can we hit 21? Yep, 21 meters per second. And let's turn around and head back. And yeah, we are once again increasing our speed. Over 15, so, oh, there we go, 16. So maybe a little bit of wind against us there, but not much. 18 and a half, 19 nearly, yeah, 19 meters per second there. Whoa. Yeah, one thing I will warn you in sports mode, the braking distance is quite a few meters. So just factor that in, especially if you're flying around obstacles, that you are going to need to factor in that extended braking distance. So we pop back into normal mode for now. This is so fun. I'm having such a good time here with my first flight with the DJI Air 3S. You do, of course, get your usual master shots. You can also have, okay, thank you for the tutorial there. You can also have your quick shots as well, your different quick shots. See if there's anything new. I don't think so. That's the usual bunch. And we have our hyperlapse too. Again, same options that we've seen with the previous drones, such as the Mini 4 Pro there. But of course, it's nice to see all these features are back here with the Air 3S. And I guess we can test out the tracking here, and perhaps making myself a little bit nervous because, once more, I brought this drone myself. So we're currently in spotlight mode. That means the drone will retain its position in the sky. Let's go ahead and change that to active track. Yep, active track is now enabled. So if I move around this tree, then you can see the drone is now actually physically moving in order to keep up with me. And let's see if I walk over here. It has actually noticed the obstacle as well, the tree. So that's good. And it seems to be retaining a pretty good position, but you can see it's automatically moving away from the branches, which themselves are quite thin, so that's good to know that it can detect those. Sometimes, especially in the winter, when the leaves have fallen, it's not always accurate as you would like it to be, the obstacle avoidance. But yeah, that doesn't seem to be the case here. It's doing a fine job. If I move backwards, there is a tree behind it. It's getting pretty close, but it has lifted up into the air and it's gone behind the tree, but it hasn't crashed. Yeah, it did a great job there of avoiding the obstacles as it manoeuvred around, following me, keeping me within its sights. And by the way, it never lost me at all. So that's great to see as well. But let's go ahead now and bring the Air 3S over back for a landing. And there's a lot of bird muck on this table, which I'm going to try and avoid if I can. Beautiful. So folks, there we have my first flight with the DJI Air 3S, and my first impressions are definitely positive. This is one of the more beastly drones I've flown in a while. It is so responsive, it is so quick. Now, I do like the features, especially with the Tele Camera that this thing is going to have. And I love the fact that I'm going to be able to get those parallax shots with a little bit of effort. Again, that quick example I just showed you was with very limited setup, but we still got some effect, so it shows what's going to be possible here. And of course, all the other features that we know and love from DJI's drones are back. So yeah, great drone here with the Air 3S. I'm really looking forward to putting it through its paces over the coming weeks and months. So be sure to stick around if you want to see more of what I do with it. But thank you so much for checking the video today. Hopefully it's been somewhat useful to you. And if you've flown the Air 3S, then please let us know your own thoughts as well. I, for one, would really like to know them. But thanks for stopping by. Happy flying, and I'll see you soon.